There have been countless examples in Islamic history that show that Allah brings the pure-hearted people to the fold of Islam one way or another. Nowadays, you might be hearing news of people converting to Islam after finding inspiration from the famous Turkish TV show, Resurrection Ertugrul. Well, this story is about one such Muslim convert, a 60-year-old American woman who lives in a small town in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. However, before we kickstart this extraordinary story, if any of you doesn't know about Resurrection Ertugrul, it is a Turkish drama serial about the struggle of Ertugrul Gazi, whose son, Osman I, later went on to establish the long-lasting Ottoman Empire in the 13th century. Now that you have a bit of an idea about this TV series, let's begin the story. This U.S. woman, who now calls herself Khadija, used to be a Catholic. Recently, she gave an interview to a Turkish private agency called Anadolu Agency, in which she explained her remarkable journey to Islam. So, her journey began a few weeks back, when one day, which she describes as an upsetting one, while she was browsing Netflix, she stumbled upon Resurrection Ertugrul. Khadija looked into the details of the show, and it interested her enough that she started watching it. As she watched this show, the ideas of Islam, which were completely new to her, began to interest her after only a few episodes. Although the show was based on history that she knew absolutely nothing about, the ideas about God, Islam, peace, justice, and helping the oppressed, which are portrayed in the show, greatly impressed her. As a result, Khadija became a fan of Resurrection Ertugrul. Her favorite character in the show was Muhyiddin ibn Arabi, who is well known in the show for his intelligent dialogues based on Islamic wisdom. His words had such an impact on her that, according to her, they drove me to tears. Like, they practically made her cry. Moving on. With a growing interest in the show and Islam, Khadija watched all the seasons of the show a total of 4 times and started watching for the 5th time during the time of this interview. She would often stop playing the episodes in between and look up information about the characters in the show, the Ottoman Empire, and Islam in general. As a result, she got to learn more about Islam, and many of her questions regarding the faith were cleared. As her curiosity about Islam grew, she decided to read the Islamic holy book, the Quran. After reading the Holy Quran, she finally made her decision to become a Muslim. With her mind made up, Khadija looked online for a mosque near her house. Once she found a mosque, she went in to visit it. Even though the worshippers there were surprised to see her, she eventually got to meet the Muslims, who she says were kind. They told her about Shahada, that it is basically declaring the oneness of Allah and Muhammad as his messenger, and that saying it is mandatory for one to become a Muslim. So, she uttered her Shahada and became a Muslim that very same day. After converting to Islam, Khadija got disappointing reactions from her friends. They stopped talking to her and they think that she's been brainwashed. But Khadija doesn't argue with them about faith and believes that since she doesn't interfere with their faith, they shouldn't interfere with hers either. Now, if we talk about Khadija's children, none of them have questioned their mother on her new look with her head covered with a scarf and her obsession with Turkish TV shows. But according to Khadija, the youngest one has figured out her conversion. As for her other children, she believes that they also suspect her conversion to Islam, but they haven't asked her about it yet. Now, besides Khadija, in recent times there was one other similar publicized instance of conversion. According to a Turkish newspaper report in 2019, a Mexican couple was also so touched by the Turkish hit TV series Resurrection Ertugrul that they embraced Islam. The couple joined the Circle of Islam after Kelal Ali's speech about the blockbuster drama serials and his country during the 22nd meeting of the Muslim American Society. In case you're wondering who Kelal Ali is, he is actually the person who plays Abdul Rahman Alp's character on Resurrection Ertugrul. Anyway, this Muslim couple says that they were initially inspired by the TV show Resurrection Ertugrul, and then by Turkey's humanitarian activities around the world, which ultimately convinced them that being Muslim is how they want to spend the rest of their lives. So, coming back to Khadija, she now intends to visit Turkey once the COVID-19 pandemic ends, and visit the places where Resurrection Ertugrul was shot. She also plans to visit the tombs of the real-world counterparts of the characters of the show, especially the tomb of Ertugrul. Khadija says that she thanks Allah every day for giving her another day in this life. She believes that this life is too short for people to waste it doing wrong things and caring about material things. And with that said, this heartwarming story comes to an end.